today. How you doing today, gorgeous?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I can't complain. Coming off of a double shift at my job. Episode before you
Lovely.
as my smokers know, I stay recording all the time. If I can, and the whole nine. And how has your day been?
It's been interesting. It was a long night and a late start to the day, but it's just been crammed and filled with as much as possible. I feel like this time of the year is incredibly busy for everybody in our line of work.
Oh yeah, cause right now AVN time. And
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are
congratulations
trying
on
to
your
get me to go.
nomination. And congratulations on your nomination.
As to you, same thing.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And how do you feel about being nominated? You know what I'm saying? Well, I want to make sure so people understand. Favorite trans cam star and creator. How does it feel to be nominated?
Pretty surreal. When I woke up to the news of it, I thought that they might have made a mistake because I'm still relatively smaller compared to my peers there. I'm definitely feeling a little bit shocked, but definitely very happy.
I mean, because it's one because these awards are the fan awards; they're not the committee awards, so people know the difference. But
Right.
it speaks to your fan base. Did you realize that you had such a strong fan base like you had?
No, actually, I mean, I try to build up as much of a fan base everywhere I go and just try to spread my reach everywhere I go. But I'm just frankly a little bit still surprised by it. Very happy, definitely, but just absolutely just beyond words most of the time when I look back at that.
Yeah, and how long you been in the business so far?
Relatively still new. I started December 29th of 2021. The only
Okay.
reason I remember that date is because I was the date of my first shoot was the day that my dad died earlier that day, and I
Oh
still had a
snap.
whole bunch of stuff planned.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, my family knew that I was going to get into the business as well. I don't keep any secrets from them. So once that all happened and the paperwork was signed at the hospital, everybody was just telling me, "Well, you're going to go work tonight, aren't you?" Because we we're a kind of family that doesn't like to mourn. We feel like the mourning is wasted on the dead. If you want to celebrate somebody, celebrate them when they're alive.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, your story is similar
yeah,
to mine. It wasn't my first shoot. It was my first time working with somebody, and my mother had passed, and I had to come back and shoot two scenes, and then come back and shoot a scene the next day. So, which shows people the dedication that we have sometimes for this
oh
business.
yeah, word got around pretty quick in that company that I was able to work on a moment's notice without much difficulty.
See, dependability, people, dependability. So, with that being said, welcome to the Smokers Lounge. How y'all doing today, smokers? You know who I am, sipping my coffee, the one and only and award nominated, AVN nominated, Kavanaugh the Subject Champ, aka the Porn Rap Star. Y'all know what to do. Find all my links with one link, allmylinks.com/porn rap star. Three sponsors to tell you about. First being the Facebook and LS community, lsworld.com. Go get a profile there. Also, the hottest adult magazine in the game, eroticismmagazine.com. And last but not least, award winning, award nominated, and they give you voiceover with their smut, and they even have an award nominated virtual reality side of their website. I'm talking about none other than blusherotica.com. Also, check out the new home of the Premium Smoke Room. That's right, on loyalfans.com, where it gets more wilder, it gets more candid, it gets more unpredictable, it gets crazier. The tits might pop out, dildos might pop out. You don't know unless you subscribe. 5 premium podcasts for you to enjoy. Plus, you get to see why I know what I talk about because you get to see a little bit of my Triple X content while you're there. So go to the premium smoke room, become a premium smoker, and catch that smoke. Also, excuse me, proud member of the GW District Black Podcasting Network. So go over to shopgwdistrict.com and buy something. Why don't you? Also, check me out 5 days out the week in the mornings on fullswapradio.com, as well as skyhawkafterdarktv.com, as well as the BGP LLC app. Shouts out to my man Gerald. Now, I'm going to sit back and let this gorgeous and sexy, freaky, award nominated lady introduce herself. Go ahead, baby.
Well, just to start off, everybody can find me everywhere at JaymeeCastles.com. That is JaymeeCastles. And you could find me everywhere under the same username because they haven't banned me anywhere yet under Jaymee Castles. So we'll see if that happens anytime soon, but those links will of course be updated. And you could catch me generally anywhere, typically in the northern Texas region, doing anything in the kink community, or frequenting my second home over in Vegas, visiting all of my other trans friends over there. But I'm always available for any bookings across the country. So by all means, feel free to hit me up, and I'll be more than happy to see if I can schedule something with y'all.
So, with the trans porn community, how close knit are y'all?
Well, it's kind of like a joke in the industry that if you're dedicated to your craft and the work in the trans community, at least in the porn field of it, you'll be Eskimo sisters with everybody within about 3 months because everybody has basically been with everybody, and it's kind of the way it is. Those that are falling out of favor or just retiring, typically have a shelf life of about 6 years or so and just kind of cycles in the new talent. But yeah, I mean, at any given time, the mainstream side of things, there's probably a good handful of 30 to maybe 40 tops performers. And then there's always an influx of new people that I'm sure you've seen that go into the business and then later find out it might not be for them, or they're just a weekend warrior that does it from time to time.
Yeah. Because it seems like to me, transgender porn is now becoming more popular.
I
I'm
would like to
seeing
say so. At least based on the views, it's one of those genres that has an absurd amount of views, but nobody ever admits to watching it.
because I tell anybody, I say I can't watch a girl on girl unless there's a strap on involved. So watching a transgender woman with a woman, you feel me, or cis women is the term is,
Right.
um, that that's to me is hot and sexy compared to they just using a double edged dildo and they twerking.
Yeah, I mean, like I can actually feel my dildo that's attached to me, and thankfully, I'm one of the few in the industry that's blessed with a pretty decent sized one and actually functions because, as some people might know that are educated, the medications that we're on sometimes might make it atrophy if you don't use it. Then like any other muscle, if you don't use it, you kind of tend to lose the ability.
Oh, most definitely. So since you say you started back in 2021, let's go back in a time machine. What got you into the business?
Oof, this is a pretty dark conversation, sort of, because I was getting incredibly just suicidal and depressed at my office job.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of did everything in life that you needed to do, finished high school, finished college, got the office job, got a good place to myself. But then I realized that I wasn't happy, and I've always just been a very kinky person at heart that wanted to do this ever since I could. Um, so lo and behold, the time comes along that I realize if I don't do this now, I'm gonna be regretting it much more later in life. So I just pull the trigger and not literally though, even though that might have been a question at the time, but I started camming and one of the bigger companies, Groovy, reached out to me to star in a couple of solos, and I was pretty green in terms of just being actually ready to do it, but I definitely wasn't camera shy. I feel like you kind of have to already have a passion for a little bit of voyeurism to a degree and a little bit of exhibitionism to really enjoy and have fun with that. Because there's some people that can be very hypersexual, but when you turn the camera on, they just can't perform.
Yeah. Oh,
And
no.
thankfully that wasn't me. But go on.
Yeah. I mean, but like I said, but your performance is a little bit different because do you work with women as well as men, as well as other transgender?
Yeah, I'm very pansexual in that regards. I pretty much work with anybody that's hot. So, if the chemistry's there, I'm more than happy to work things out. And thankfully, I'm very flexible when it's just a situation of, oh, the guy doesn't want to take my dick. Well, that's fine. I'd much rather get fucked in those situations. Or the girl's not comfortable with using a strap on. Oh, that's fine. I'll go ahead and fuck her and do the scene that way. Um, so thankfully, I'm very versatile in that regards, and I feel like that's one of the things that makes me a little bit favorable with the majority of my fans is that I kind of split my work 50-50 in terms of just like, here's me fucking people and here's me getting fucked, which some people just do 100% of just the other.
So when you did your first, what was first, the boy girl or the girl girl?
So I did two solos for my first shoot, and then I had to do a boy girl scene, but that was my first pro shoot. I was already filming a bit of well, amateur content, I guess if we could call it that, or just solo content,
Hmm.
with my cisgendered girlfriend, who's also a performer that got nominated with me for the TA awards. Um, yeah, I mean, first pro scene was with another hardcore performer. Well, first hardcore scene was a boy girl scene with I believe his name is Soldier Boy. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
very well known in the trans community.
So now let's unpack that shoot because you know I love unpacking shoots. So this is your first boy girl scene, or what have you. And it was a straight up pro scene. So describe your emotions walking in. Was you nervous? How did male talent make you feel comfortable? Producer make you feel comfortable? Because I always talk about this with since women that the male talent is a little flirtation that goes on when it comes to being on set, you know, or what have you. So pick the picture for us for that shoot.
So it was very professional. I feel like nowadays they want to make sure, especially the male talent, that they don't overstep any boundaries. Because there has been plenty of stories, as I'm sure many of us have heard, that they just kind of get a little bit too handsy and aggressive before the camera starts rolling. Definitely none of that. I was working with an incredibly just well-known professional in our industry by the name of Omar Wax, who shoots a lot for Groovy and has done a lot of amazing talents his first scene. A notable trans star by the name of Natalie Mars shot her first scenes with Omar Wax as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it was nice. It was a good little Airbnb right across the street from the Dallas Police headquarters, which was nice. That was kind of funny. Um, and the only thing that I feel like is more prevalent in the old guard of porn
Mm-hmm.
producers is that it's a very much a closed set that they don't want anybody there with you because I guess they don't want anybody to ruin the shoot.
Yeah.
I've been used to working a lot more on the queer space of things where it's more of an open set and they
Mm-hmm.
just tell everybody to shut the fuck up when they start filming. uh, and I prefer it that way, frankly. I
Yeah.
kind of prefer like, hey, there's your friends and your co-stars just like 2 feet away right there. They're just like on their phones, chill, while I'm right here doing my work, and everybody kind of gets along better that way. But back to the my first pro scene, my girlfriend was just waiting for me in the car, I believe at the time, and we were just we were just kind of hammering things out. I was a little bit nervous because I wasn't quite sure what to expect, but I wasn't nervous in regards to what I was walking into. I just wanted to be professional more than anything and just make sure that I could put my best feet forward in that regards. It was fun. It was great. It was one of the few scenes where it was not heavily scripted. It was more ad-libbed, and I kind of prefer that. It comes off a little bit more natural. But yeah, it was fun. That's my biggest takeaway from that was that it was fun. I've heard many horror stories before of people not preparing themselves properly for anal before a scene that caused a big mess. Thankfully, that wasn't me. Or just male performers having issues not being able to get the equipment up. Thankfully, that didn't happen. But yeah, it was great. It was fun. It's one of those things that I just can't get enough of, and I love studio shoots for that reason.
So, so now when it comes to your content, um, how do you find male talent? Because I had this conversation with Cassie, Paris, Triple X. Shouts out to her. I forgot. Mimi. I think that's her name, or what have you. And because part of y'all shit is they want to see you get fucked by a dude.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
in some cases, fuck the dude. They just keep it 100. Yeah, dude.
That
They,
costs a little bit extra for me.
yeah. Oh, so you said that's something you just don't normally do.
Um, it's not that I don't normally do it. It's just that the pool of male talent is very limited in the trans industry.
Yeah.
Because funny enough, a lot of male performers will say that I don't film with trans people, yada yada yada. I meet them later at a party and they want to suck my dick, but they don't want to be on a camera with me. So, I mean, that's just life. Uh, the pool of male talent existing right now, it's fairly small, especially in my region, which is why I typically like to frequent Las Vegas to occasionally schedule with like the reliable talent that
Mm.
is available for trades. Um, frequently, however, lately, however, there's just been a lot of issues with me actually getting out of the city because I've just semi recently been recovering from an extensive surgery to my face and my tits because when you're trans you kind of go through that phase if you can afford it or want to go through that.
Mm.
And I've actually just been betting, just waiting patiently for when I'm going to be able to go back and make a big splash for that. So everybody's going to be very happy to see what happens there. In terms of just being able to find the male talent,
Yeah.
we just look for people that have worked with other trans people before, and word of mouth gets around pretty quick as to whether or not they're reliable, they're rude, or they're easy to work with or easy to reach and schedule. Um, everybody's pretty good in terms of a community being able to vet for other performers, especially male talent for that regards.
Yeah, because y'all have to do extra betting compared to the cis women. They way extra betting. Um,
Mhm.
because I mean, because I know it's 'cause even from talking to someone that was trying to break in the industry. Um,
Oh, I can give a download like a 101 for men that want to get in the trans industry. Like the first thing that you have to do is just start putting out solo content that you're reliable because we actually want to see somebody that's putting out the work themselves.
mhm,
And your solo work is where it's at. That's how people can verify you. That's actually how you make the majority of your money too. But if we can verify that, hey, you're uploading to the proper avenues and not just a direct to sell individual that we can't trust or verify,
mhm.
that's one of the biggest steps. And typically, sometimes you just have to take the plunge. For men, unfortunately, it's a lot of having to spend money to make money at first when you start. There might be some instances in when you might have to pay a model's booking fee, but
Mhm.
consider that just your price of admittance. If you do that once or twice, word's going to get around that you're actually reliable.
Now I'm gonna ask you this: is it easier to find women that will work with a transgender versus men?
It's easier to find trans women. In terms of cis women and cisgendered men, they
Mhm.
kind of more so see us as a fetish, and it's something that once they realize that, oh no, I have to sign the paperwork and this is going to be legitimate, that they kind of back out and have second thoughts about wanting to actually commit to it.
Yeah, because
Um, but
um,
oh no, I'm so sorry. I was just gonna make a mention.
go
The
ahead.
the cis women that are available to work with that are in the industry, there's an old stigma still around that I've ran into. If they generally are not represented by a model or talent agency, they're very friendly and open and welcome to work with trans people.
Hmm.
However, if they're represented by an agency, that it's an old mentality that they tell them not to work with trans women.
Yeah.
And they typically ghost me. Not to necessarily name names, but there's been a handful of performers that were very adamant about wanting to work with me, but then the next day they get signed by an agency and then they just kind of ghost me.
Yeah.
Um, and
Because the main
that's
reason, because the old guard that still runs porn.
right.
So my smokers can understand. They want to keep gay porn, because that's where she fall under, away from straight porn. That has always been the thing that they wanted to do since back in my day in 2010, early 2000s, all that shit. Period. You know, Part of it was because of John Holmes, because he
Mhm.
was one of the few male talents that did both.
Crossover.
He crossed over a lot. That's why he was the man, because he did both sides of the fence. And because of that, that's part of the reasoning why, and the stigma with AIDS and homosexuality, y'all get the gist of it. That's the reasoning why they
However, it's
do it.
kind of it's kind of weird. All talent now has to get tested by the same standards that everybody
Yeah,
else does. We either go through clear or talent testing or somewhere that's pass verified. Our tests are the same test. It's just antiquated mentality and thoughts that they think that once they work with a trans person that their value is going to go down, that their videos aren't going to sell, that people aren't going to jerk off to it. But the funny thing is, when you look at a lot of people that actually dropped their agents and then started working with trans people, those are the videos that usually sell the most. You have Riley Reid working with Natalie Mars, or you have Belladonna working with Vanity, or Bailey
but
J
see,
even at the
because of
time.
the shock value of it, that you're seeing her with a transgender woman, and she's getting fucked with a transgender woman. You get what I'm saying? Period.
Exactly.
It's that shock value. That's what I kept saying. What happened with porn and what we kind of lost. That y'all still have the luxury of, to a certain extent, is the shock value.
Right.
Period. So and like I said, to me, the agencies know that the major companies, such as the United America, Brazzers did try to do transgender, and it failed. I take it, because they haven't tried again.
Exactly. I don't think I've seen anything since Aubrey Kate and Cora Del Rio, or Lena Moon, or Lena Kelly. I forget what her name is now. Um, and it's likely because of the logistics, because there's not that many trans performers that are in mainstream media, and
Yeah,
there's not that many male talent that want to film with trans people.
yeah, yeah. So it makes it, and then to also add to it, interracial is big. So that shrinks even worse, because there's probably less black men that will work with transgender.
Believe it or not, there's actually the pool of men that I pull from, almost about 3/4 of them are black. So that hey, I'm not complaining. I'm happy.
You know what I'm saying? But why that shouldn't surprise me. But I digress.
Well, I mean, it really shouldn't surprise anybody. It's funny because the more conservative your background is, i.e., whether you're Hispanic, be it whatever minority, or just black, whatever it might be, go ahead and log on to Grinder tonight and see what the majority of people are. I can guarantee you, it's not going to be white. It's going to be everybody else.
Yeah, because even to the point, like, I know there's a rise of black men that into pegging.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
And I mean, they go full tilt with lingerie and everything with the shit. I be like, damn,
Oh, you mean like the cross-dressing and sissy type content like
yeah,
that?
yeah, like straight up. I like, okay, it's, hey,
Have fun.
I can't knock anybody for their kink or fetish, bro.
Exactly. Let them have fun.
So shoot, for a transgender, because for a transgender, how do they get in the business? Because like I said, it's a different way you have to get in
It's
compared
pretty
to
easy
any.
nowadays. I feel like before Elon Musk bought Twitter out of spite to basically spite his trans daughter, it was a lot more easier for that. But I would just say get your presence started. I do actually offer a bit of consulting for people that are a little bit serious about just getting their foot in the door, just porn 101. But here's the basics. Get your identity out there, start posting regularly, follow the trends, and just post in the major avenues. Create an OnlyFans, but frankly, don't stick to just OnlyFans because they don't like sex workers right now. They're actually trying to kick out a whole bunch of them. Create multiple platforms. Loyal fans, just for fans, Fansly, those are all good avenues to go with. But post regularly. What kills people at the start is that they can't be consistent. And it doesn't have to be an everyday type of thing. However, what I would recommend is take a photo set one week. Maybe you take 100 or 200 photos and just drop 20 to 30 photos every day right there until your next video release at the end of that set, and then rinse and repeat. It's pretty easy about that. Word gets around pretty quick if you also webcam. You don't have to do it for too long, but just get yourself out there, start friending all of the other trans people. And the biggest thing that you can do is know that you have to put money into this now. Gone are the days of the 90s where you can just kick back in LA and just make a boatload of money with studios. You can't do that. You have to be your own business. You have to realize that you're probably going to have to travel to other places in the country to film with other stars out of your own pocket. But hey, that's a business expense. Put that on your tax as a write-off. And just do that. I built a reputation pretty quick for just like, oh, that's that bitch Jaymee Castles that's going everywhere. Like she was just in Seattle last week, and now she's in LA, now she's in New York, now she's in Vegas, and now she's in Miami. You kind of have to do that. Not all the time, but if you're smart about how you bank your content, I would recommend 3/4 of your content to be solo stuff and build up to a collab that you did with somebody. That way you don't have to burn yourself out. Let's say that you do 7 to 12 collabs in a year. That's your yearly collab content right there. Focus on your solo shit and then just put that out. And if you're good, you'll rise up easily.
Yeah, I mean, the blueprint is the blueprint. It doesn't matter what your sex is or gender. You
Right.
know, it's just the whole key of it is ladies have and gents have to remember this game is a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's not
You got to
about
put in the
year
work.
one. It's about year 2, year 3, year 4, and year 5. Period. And now I'm gonna ask you this: Is it a lot? Is there a lot of companies that do shoot trans content?
No, unfortunately not. And that's kind of one of the bigger problems in the industry. Most of the companies that do exist, the biggest one that there is Groovy. But the handful of other studios that are out there are very, very, I hate to say it, it's a bit gatekeepy, but we have Trans Elegance, Trans Angels, and the Evil Angel studio that likes to shoot trans content.
Mm-hmm.
But in the 2 years that I've been doing this, it's been quiet about being able to get work with them. Oh, there's also Legal Porno over in Prague, over in Europe. I love their stuff, but it's kind of hard to get in touch with somebody and just kind of actually be like, hey, if you're interested, hit me up. But no, it's you kind of have to make your own work. That's as simple as it is. And I'm actually filling in a void at the moment right now, turning into more of a producer on that side of things because of that reason alone. There's a huge gap in the trans porn industry right now. If anybody's listening to this, by all means, feel free to pick up the ball too. There is a lot of work to be made, but you have to actually put in the work in that situation as well.
Yeah, because I would think that the more acceptance of I don't feel like saying the alphabet, the community, that I would think there'll be more because yeah, you got plenty of companies that do gay porn, man on man, hands down. But I would think there'll be more companies that would do transgender. You feel what I'm saying? Because it's a
Exactly.
rise in the popularity of it, and there's money there, and it's a very strong niche market that is very, very rabid about the content. They want to see it.
Oh, absolutely. Um, the only thing that I would say that kind of holds the trans community back for that is that we fail to see the monetization of it. And I understand that people are very sensitive to certain topics. I know that some people are very, very sensitive about interracial content, and I get it. However, one of the things that they have to realize is that the porn industry is, like you mentioned before, a shock value industry.
Yeah.
You kind of have to you have to corner the market and capitalize on those niche because in the trans community, you have your cross dressers and your sissies in the trans community. And I usually tell trans people when they get into the business, guess who's consuming your content? Closeted, cross dressing sissies
Yeah.
that live their day to day lives as men. It's not other trans people, it's mostly them. And if you market to them, you might be hated by your own community, but hey, it's a business. You have to realize that you got to make your money, and sometimes you can cater to them, and sometimes you can cater to other people.
So now I'm gonna ask you this: which makes more money, pre-op or post-op?
Pre-op. If I got rid of my dick, my bookings would go down tremendously.
Because I always wondered that if a female that was in the business decided to go full tilt, go post-op, would she gain any work? Because
Mm,
I know
The only,
she's not gonna gain it on the straight side. So would she gain it on the trans side?
not not to knock it down. I feel like the science is getting better as it goes, but a lot of those post-op pussies are kind of gnarly the first couple years when they're recovering.
Mm-hmm.
There's also this new surgery that came out. I forget what the official name is, but you can basically keep your penis and have like a hole for penetration where your balls are, essentially.
Yeah, make
Uh,
it morphodite.
yeah. Like it's basically like a hermaphrodite type situation. But I know a couple, a handful of performers that have had it.
Mm-hmm.
But the unfortunate thing is, if you look at the numbers, there's always a market for everybody, but that market might be a little bit more smaller for the post-op world. There's people once they get that surgery, they kind of just drop off of that space,
Yeah,
and unless they re-identify themselves as a new person and then start on the straight cis world where they can pass as a cis female. I
yeah.
haven't seen or heard about that yet.
No, no. Because once they know, they know. Ain't nothing you can do about that. So now you ain't gonna sit there and have on a Bullet Club shirt, and we ain't gonna talk about wrestling. So,
Oh, I a wrestler.
so let's talk wrestling because I saw you have on the AEW shirt or what have you. How big of a wrestling fan are you?
Very. My grandfather was a luchador, and before COVID, I was actually a wrestler, a little
Oh,
small time one.
oh
So
my God.
that was
And,
before I transitioned, and there's no way I'm putting those pictures out there.
yeah.
But there's plenty of talk of people wanting me back over there, and I've considered it. I gave it thought, but I'm also just thinking to myself, fuck, I just spent thousands of dollars on plastic surgery. Do I really want to go back working for hot dogs and a handshake just to get my face busted open again?
Oh my God. You talking about working with over in Mexico?
Well, we had connections to work with. I believe it was a company that is connected to CMLL
Okay.
and AAA, and we also had a connection with the New Japan and LA Dojo.
Ooh.
And we, at the time before it happened, also had an in for Ring of Honor
Mm.
and who else? TNA. And obviously, every time WWE came to town, people in my school would work as extras. Um, the closest spotlight the biggest spotlight that I got was working behind the scenes for a New Japan show when they came to Dallas.
Oh shit.
But yeah, that was pretty fucking
That's so
awesome.
fabulous.
Man, Kota Ibushi is way handsome in person. Same thing for Tanahashi. But uh, I really love that industry, but it's one of those that, like a musician or like every type of artistic endeavor, it's 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 a slow build. You're not going to be an overnight success story, and you have to put in the work there as well. And I kind of credit a lot of my pro wrestling experience to my work ethic in porn.
Mm.
You get the job done, don't complain, and you show up to your bookings. That's kind of like a
Yeah.
bare minimum thing, but you also want to help out people in the background, which a lot of people never really do. But it gets you a long way to get to know people behind the scenes and move further in the industry anywhere that you are.
Now it's funny as fuck because I know you heard Giselle Shaw, the quintessential diva, and I followed her career from when she was with Progress. And at first, it didn't dawn on me that she was transgender. Um, Because like I said before, people, they're transgender out here that if you ain't paying attention, you'll get fooled. She's one of them.
Yeah.
She gorgeous, yes, but she is a great wrestler. I love watching her matches and everything and stuff. And I'm starting to see that wrestling is embracing transgender because you're seeing more transgender performers. Nyla Rose, that's my girlfriend. I'm sorry,
Oh, I love her. Like she's
I love
fucking
she.
hilarious.
She is gorgeous. I said, damn.
Thick with 15 C's.
Woo! And so it's kind of like so. Is what other transgender wrestlers do you keep up with?
So the funny thing about that is like there's always been an in to a degree
Yeah.
for like queerness in wrestling. If you go to Mexico, even with the
Oh yeah.
exoticos,
Yes, I love the Exoticos.
they're fucking hysterical and they're amazing at what they do. But it's basically if you mix a drag performance and
Yeah.
wrestling all in one. And I personally am a fan of Nyla Rose. I know that Gabby is starting to train again over here in Austin, close to me.
Hmm.
Um, and Sunny Kiss was non-binary, but technically
Yeah.
trans as well.
I loved her.
Uh,
I loved them. I
oh
loved
yeah,
them.
Sunny Kiss was fucking amazing. Such an amazing ass too.
Yes.
That's kind of
I was like,
disappointed I didn't
damn.
see it on TV.
I used to love
Oh
when it
yeah.
came out. I used to love when they came out with dancing. And they dancing just as good as the damn cis girls. Out dancing them. I
Oh
said,
yeah. Oh yeah. My household is a big Sunny Kiss household. We miss them on TV and we follow everything that they do. But love me some Nyla Rose too. And unfortunately, there's not as much of a mainstay as there is right now because, well, I mean, we make up such a small percentage of the actual population on the earth, so it makes sense that we're not necessarily all over the place in that case. But I'm just happy that at least there's more of a scope for it because I know in my school, we had at least 5 transgendered wrestlers there at any given time, and I guess now 6 if you count me, but uh it's thankfully accepting, but it's always very, very scary doing it in the South because you can get some cheap heat right away if you want to, just by being the trans female beating up cisgender females.
yeah, I'm in the South. I can tell you that now. They lose their dude.
I mean, I
I mean,
had one of my favorite characters that I was going to debut called the Ultimate Social Justice Warrior, which was going to be an incredibly left-leaning wrestler that's making fun of all the right-leaning fans in the stands.
Jill Cornette would have loved that.
Oh yeah.
Because I didn't realize how left he was until he's had his podcast. It made me love him even more. Because I actually seen him live. I seen Dusty Rhodes. See, I had the pleasure of seeing all the old heads back in the
I
day
mean, I'm
and stuff.
I'm a child of the sportatorium where my parents would just talk about it nonstop
Oh, yes.
and have all the videotapes from world-class championship wrestling. I grew up on a lot of that before I got into the WWE stuff
Yeah.
or just like the mainstream stuff.
Oh. You talking to a guy. Oh, I lived through the territory days. I remember when we had cable, they was it. This was the scheduling people. You had this what would become Fox. You would have NWA. What was that? It won't Mid Atlantic. Mid Atlantic went to midnight.
It was
It
Deep South too.
yeah, it was NWA. Then they gave us World Class. Trust me, I knew about the Von Erichs and the Freebirds. I remember the episode where Kerry Von Erich got the cage thrown in his face by Michael Hayes.
Oh,
And then,
my favorite one is the Texas Stadium moment. That huge reaction from the crowd walking out there. It's insane. They were gods in the region.
oh, that I can believe it. And even seeing Kerry Von Erich going to the WWE as the Texas Tornado and
Uh,
everything. And I actually I can't wait to see the movie The Iron Claw. I have to see it just because
I
I got.
I saw it as somebody that knows the story. They didn't do it justice because it is sad and it's kind of funny when you talk to people that don't know the story. They walk out, my God, that's such a tragedy. That was so sad. The real story is 10 times worse than what they put in the movie.
They because I heard they didn't mention Chris. Chris,
No.
the little one, the young
Yeah.
brother, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And I wish they would do more. Like even with me, like I was sitting here like listening to Jim Cornette talk about Memphis. I was like, they ought to do a TV series for Memphis championship for Memphis wrestling. 'Cause I think that
Kind
would
of
make
like Dark Side of the Ring, but like behind the scenes for Memphis.
yeah. Because I'm sorry, just hearing the story of how um, Jared got the Memphis territory in the first place, and the story with the King, and all that
Yes.
stuff. Period. I can't wait for the next Dark Side. I like the Tales from the Territory more than Dark Side of the Ring.
Right.
Myself.
No, you kind of beat me to it. There was so much shit going on right there because it was its own little world encapsulated, but because nobody was kind of connecting the regions because it just didn't have the wide reach. So the things that you can get away with over in the Pacific Northwest with Roddy Piper was a completely different thing that you would get over in the LA territory versus over here in Texas.
Yeah, because I remember Roddy Piper in Mid Atlantic.
Yeah,
I remember I
that
even
was
watched
fun.
AWA got there with Nick Bockwinkel and Vern Gagne and
I have
all that and stuff.
I
And
haven't
yes,
heard
I
Nick
did watch
Bockwinkel's
Triple
name in
A
a while. Oh yeah.
on Galavision because my family used to get it on cable. Don't speak a lick of Spanish, but I knew Conan and Vampiro Caliente, Lamos y Caballeros.
People don't know how big those people are in Mexico. Like
For real.
they are rock stars over there.
Yeah, I remember Shaka, El Zorro. El Zorro was my favorite one though.
I was more
Especially
of a Latarka fan.
yeah, especially when he had the mask when he supposed to went crazy. And then he took the mask off and he said, I'm a Spaniard. I ain't no goddamn Mexican.
That sounds about right.
He became a complete heel after saying that. I died.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like that's all it takes over there.
Oh, most definitely. Cybernetico, um, El Porque, El Brazo. Oh, I remember all
Evan
the
Lover.
shit. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And they used to come to the ring and they be stripping, literally like,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
La
Working it.
Lobo. Oh, man. But man, I watch all wrestling, New Japan, all that.
Oh,
I've been
same.
really on my Dean. I've been really on England. Progress wrestling is my shit. I
Oh,
went and
oh
got
yeah.
shit.
The
My
fan
man,
base over there makes it better so much more. Like it's insane how good it is over there.
I mean, even to the fans, it's like it's beautiful. My favorite wrestler, my two favorite wrestlers over there, the Vulture, Spike Trevay. I love that motherfucker's promo. He is a true asshole. He is
I'm more of
very
a Zack
MJF.
Sabre Jr. fan and a Grado fan. It's like completely opposite from each other.
Oh yeah, and then the other dude I like that's on Progress, the Black Swan, Car Noir. I love his shit. I love his shit. And then seeing all, and I hate when they took away NXT UK. I hated that shit. That was the best one.
Oh, it was because that's where we got Pete Dunne versus Walter, which was one of the best matches that they ever put out, and Ilya Dragunov versus Walter, which was amazing.
That was brutal, brutal. And see that people, I'm gonna tell you what, y'all seen a toned down Walter. You need to go
Mm-hmm.
check out his old stuff in Progress and West and WXW over in Germany. Oh, brutal.
Well, the reason I found out about him was just because, like most wrestling fans, you kind of listen to the podcast and find out about somebody new. The first time I heard him on Colt Cabana's podcast, I had to check out all of his stuff. That guy's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. I started watching some of his matches. I said, God, he is brutal and stuff. But come and think about it, Texas, y'all got a very strong independent wrestling community.
We do.
Yeah, yeah.
We
There's
do.
enough about
However, it's our biggest enemy because the independent wrestlers here, get comfortable because the state, you could drive 12 miles in one direction and still be in it, and nobody gets out of Texas. Hardly anybody does.
Yeah.
And you really need to make the effort to go over to Memphis, to go over to Philly, to go over to Minnesota, to try to make it. Those that generally get out of the state typically have the better chance of actually making it. Otherwise, they get complacent because you can get a handful of bookings every week here, but that's not necessarily going to translate to you hopefully making a name of yourself.
Yeah, because like I know recently Brian Keith, who I remember him from Reality of Wrestling,
That was the
Inspired
first thing I took
Wrestling.
a bump at.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Um, Shoot, even I remember who else? Not Ivar, but his partner that he's injured now.
Oh,
He's
Ace?
from Texas.
Yeah.
Him and Jax Dane, that was a hell of a tag team. So
I know my teacher, my old teacher, Lamont Williams, who goes by the name of Lou Gotti in the ring. He's good friends with who we were talking about. I think it was Ivar's tag partner.
yeah, Eric.
Uh,
Eric. His real
yeah,
name
Eric
Eric.
Rowe.
God, I can't think of his name.
Eric Rowe, I think, right?
Yeah, Eric Rowe. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And we were also pretty well connected with the Briscoes, which
Mm,
that's still a tough pill to swallow.
yeah, I remember I actually had the pleasure of watching Jack Briscoe and stuff. And I never forget, I was at Dorton Arena. It was him and Jared versus Ricky Steamboat and Jay Youngblood. God, that was a brutal match.
Oh, speaking of brutal Briscoes matches, now we're talking about the other Briscoes, Mark and Jay. They used to come over to our school quite a bit too. Same thing for Cody. Before Cody got signed to AEW, he used to frequent our little region quite a bit also, and that was real nice actually being able to meet him behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's crazy watching the sons of the wrestlers that I grew up watching. Like even God bless his dad, Bray Wyatt.
Oh,
I watched his granddad and his dad and his uncles and his dad.
Rotunda. Yeah, that's kind of crazy when you just realize the lineage there and just how that's still shocking that he died that young though.
Yeah, it's yeah, because Bray. I mean, Bray was big. He was
He
actually
was
big.
one of a kind, though. Like he definitely would have eclipsed everybody in his family in terms of his legacy and impact that he had. I'm pretty sure he already did, in my opinion.
Because I mean, because you can hear if you go back and listen to the Blackjack Mulligan promos, you hear him.
Mhm.
you,
No, he
hear
definitely got a
him.
lot of inspiration from his family stuff.
Yes. Oh my God.
All of the silly stuff, you can directly connect that to just IRS right there.
And I remember he was just Mike Rotunda.
Yeah.
Him and Barry Windham. Oh, I remember the match between them and the Midnight Express
Ooh.
and all that. People don't realize territory. That was when wrestling was really fun, yo.
Well,
Really.
that's because it was that moment right before kayfabe died where it was just brutal, but everything was just going nonstop. Just the aggression, the passion for it, the fans, the commitment to it. Everything was just at a 10.
So sure, but I mean the wrestling now is straight. I definitely because I'm a wrestling fan, I keep up with AEW. That AEW ain't gonna front got a special heart place in my heart. It reminds me of WCW. So you know I hate that WCW went away. I'm sorry. I'm from the South.
Yeah, it's a shame, but I mean, I hate that they constantly get compared to that. However, they're not doing the same mistake of just doing what Bischoff and Hogan did in terms of running the place and destroying it for everybody. At least they are putting decent shows out there.
Oh yeah, and it's just funny because when you hear people talk about the TV ratings and stuff, I'm like, y'all do realize they still have the number one show on that fucking damn network.
Yeah,
They're not going
exactly.
nowhere. I'm just curious to see. I like that Joe is champ. I have no issue with it. I'm
Well
just curious
deserved.
to see who is. Now, I want to see Swerve with the belt. That's what I want to see with the belt.
Oh, 100%. I feel like that's going to be incoming by the end of this year for sure.
Hmm. Because I don't see Joe with the belt long, and I don't know how long MJF going to be out there. People think that he ain't signed no contract. Think again, people. His contract is on. He ain't go. They ain't letting that dude go nowhere.
No, no, no. Like he wants to be in AEW, much like a lot of people want to be in AEW because it gives him the flexibility to do other things. If you're signed to the WWE, you're basically signing your life away and just only being in the WWE.
Now I'm gonna ask you this: since you're a wrestling fan like me, where you think Okada gonna land?
Oh, he's gonna go to AEW, 100%. I feel like the only person that can give him a good bankroll and still let him live in Japan is gonna be Tony Khan.
Mm-hmm.
If he signs to the WWE, he has to move over to Tampa, and to Orlando, and he probably doesn't want to do that.
Oh no, oh no! I was happy that Osprey signed that because I'm like, yeah, I
Well,
love me some
same
Osprey.
reason for him. Like he signed so that he could just live and be comfortable where he wants,
Mm-hmm.
and just be able to do what he does, do the indies and work AEW.
Now I'm gonna tell you, check out Soraya's brother, Ricky Knight Jr.
Ricky Knight.
Look,
I didn't Zach get signed recently?
Zach, I know Zach. I think he re-signed with New Japan. I don't know.
Okay.
Um, but I know he got to go against uh Nick Nemeth. Nemeth, I got to get used to saying that name now. See, he's not Dolph Ziggler anymore. Which,
Yeah.
thank you for leaving WWE.
It only took you 20 years.
Damn it, I want to see. I've been wanting to see that motherfucker with somebody else for the longest, and he's in Impact. To me, that's perfect.
Oh no, for sure. Like that's going to be a perfect stepping stone for him to go anywhere, or frankly, even make the company well known.
Yeah, because I see him probably champ by the end of the year. No, no, no,
Oh,
champ
easily.
mid-year. Actually, I dare say it because I don't see Moose. Even though I like Moose, I don't see Moose with the belt. If anything, he's placeholding it for Nimitz, in my opinion.
I I think so too. I mean, the ability that he has to sell stuff and actually tell a story in the ring. He was one of the few people that, unfortunately, like Moxley, when he was in the WWE, got overlooked.
Yeah, yeah, Mox. I love me some Mox. I ain't gonna front. I liked him before he came to WWE.
I can't believe how big he actually is in person. Now, I'm admittedly a small person, like I'm 5'5", but when I was over at a Final Battle for the Ring of Honor event, I got some dope seats at the front row. Moxley's hand was like two of my hands put together. I could not believe how massive that guy is.
Well, Mox a big boy,
Oh
But
yeah,
then
TV doesn't do him justice.
I never forget when I saw the Big Show. And I actually
I,
thought about being a pro wrestler. I thought about it. I even thought about taking my ass down to Atlanta or what have you. Cause I knew they had wrestling schools here in North Carolina.
right.
But when I saw Rey Mysterio against the Big Show, I said, I'm good.
I used to work security over at the American Airlines Center for a while, and we used to run into wrestlers a lot. And one day I got to meet Big Show and shake his hand, and it was so daunting seeing that. It was him and I think Scott Hall, no, not Scott Hall, Kevin Nash were asking me directions to get to the Kennedy Memorial. And I was just starstruck for a moment, just like, oh my God, these guys are fucking giants.
Oh my God. I never forget, I met Arn Anderson at the Walmart. And I met Ivan Koloff, God bless the dead. And he spoke to me with no Russian accent, and it blew my fucking mind. Now, mind you, I thought he was from Russia for real.
Right. My dad did too.
And then he spoke. I said, "You ain't got a Russian accent." He's like, "I'm not from Russia." He was like, "That's just my persona." I'm like, "Oh yeah, that does make sense."
Hey, Coco Beware, where's your birds?
I'm saying, it's just weird when you see him in person. I said, I'm gonna go because we do have one that do come near me called Deadlock Pro Wrestling. Cause I do want to see MXM, which is God, what's his name? Mansoor, and
Oh yeah,
Mace.
Mansoor
Yeah,
and
and Mace. They're
Mace
down, they're down
and
here.
Theo Madden. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I remember when he was at the
Dio
road.
Madden, I have a huge I have a huge fandom for him because I found out about Booker T's school directly through him because
Mhm.
he's the biggest nerd ever. And he was in the same circles that I was at the time with anime and video game conventions. And I found out where he was training. So I figured I'm going to make the drive over from Dallas to Houston to go check out Booker T's school. And that kind of like was the bug for me. After that, I was wanting to do everything pro wrestling in terms of training.
Yeah, cause I watched the road reality
Oh
wrestling.
yeah.
And Booker T, he been feeding WWE. He been feeding WWE yeah, like cereal.
Thankfully, we got two feeder schools here in the DFW region now. We have my old school, which was Dallas All DFW All Pro, and Athena School, which is now MPX, I believe.
Mhm. Okay, okay. So shoot,
Like,
so
and she was a student of Booker, if I'm not mistaken, too.
mm, yeah, cause I remember seeing Roxanne Perez and Indy Hartwell before they went to the WWE. Um, and so I was shook. Now I was shook that Rose Perez was so fucking young, and what that boy? God, I can't figure his damn name. Cause when I first started watching it, cause he ended up going to MLW. I can't figure his damn name.
Gino?
Gino, yes. Which I'm very surprised his talented ass has not made it to one of the big leagues. Cause he
Yeah,
got in droves.
it must be a politics type thing because he is one of the best trainers I've ever stepped in the ring with. They can teach anybody anything, and everything that he does is so fucking smooth. Like it's flawless.
Oh my God. See, people, this is the third person I ran into that has done professional wrestling and transitioned to adult film. That
There's a
is
lot of
really,
parallels there, believe it or not.
actually. It really is. Because both of them is physical as hell
Hmm.
to believe.
I would honestly say that it helps out people in all like pro wrestling training is one of the hardest things that I've ever done in my life, but it's one of the most rewarding things in terms of just work ethic and being able to just outwork everybody because I think probably credit to myself. That's one of the main reasons why I'm here so far in the industry is because I pride myself in just being able to try to outwork everybody as much as I can.
See, that's what I'm talking about. So, and two, how big is your boobies?
They are 36 Ds right now so far.
Okay, okay. So, so hopefully, y'all get to see him in the premium smoke room if we can get her in there. Cause I'm still looking for a transgender sexy lady to bring it to the premium smoke room for my premium smokers. So with that being said, I got to ask her the $1 million question. Can I call you a smoke buddy?
Absolutely.
There you go. She'll be back here on the Smokers Lounge. We're gonna bring her to the premium smoke room. Y'all know what it is. 5 premium podcasts, 3 sexy co-hosts. It gets more candy, it gets more wild, it gets more unpredictable. Tits come out, dildos come out. You don't know what might come out unless you subscribe. And now we're on Loyal Fans, not on Spotify. It really gets off the hook. So I suggest you subscribe to the premium smoke room. So Miss Castle, tell everybody where they can spend money on you, baby.
So JaymieCastles.com has all of my links to where you can find me. My premium OnlyFans right there is popping. I don't charge for pay-per-views. I don't hustle you or anything in that regards. You sign up there and you get over 1,000 videos so far and hundreds of thousands of, well, thousands more pictures as well alongside with that. All for free, no extra charges. I'm not going to recycle content like some people that I won't name, but
Yeah,
you
I'm one of
the-
them. I'm sorry. I recycle content because I'm retired, so I have an excuse.
there's ways to do it, and I feel like sometimes people delete their content and then
Yeah.
upload it back later. Sometimes you got to work the hustle. That's fine. Um, I don't want to do that because I feel like I'm going to be cheating you. I want to make sure you get your money's worth, and
I say just
feel free
find
to
another
find.
platform. That's what you do. Just find another platform. That's what you do.
Oh yeah.
You know.
But speaking of that, I am going to be slowly moving away to Fansly. So feel free to find me there, Fansly at Jaymee Castles. It is going to be much more cheaper than my OnlyFans. That way I can at least entice you to go over there.
Oh yeah. So y'all go ahead and make that transition to some great content, and trust me, you will be satisfied. So with that being said, you know how we end these things all day, every day. Life is a learning experience. What's the point of the experience? If you haven't learned anything, smoke this over. Say goodbye to him, Jaymee.
See ya, people. Love ya.